All right. We are now streaming live on YouTube. Today is December 10th, 2024. I am Judge Case Johnson. When I call your case, please make your announcements. Anthony Sidney or Sidney Anthony?
Anthony. Oh, I believe she's out. That person's out to bond.
Okay, first of all, who are these people, all these people on here? Who is King? Oh, okay. And then there's a shower trying to get through now. Who is that? Showard. Is that an officer? Showard? What about White E? Who is White E?
Yeah, and that's Officer White with the Martin Police Department.
Okay, can you please rename your device? And then Showard. Who is that?
Oh, that's me, Your Honor. This is Officer Howard.
Okay, if you would please rename your device, so I know you're an officer.
I'll put officer by it.
Yes, yes, sir. And then I think that's it. Yeah, all righty. Announcement on Sidney Anthony.
Yes. I believe that person is out to bond.
Person is out to bond, all right.
Yes.
And Alfonso Baker.
Alfonso Baker, we're ready. Let me just see if our officer is here. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. Officer Lamar is actually not present today, so we're not ready on that. They had either a training or some other conflict.
Do we know what the conflict is?
Yes. Let me look. Second.
And then can someone tell me how long this person been in jail?
Oh, he was out for surgery.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, the officer is out for surgery.
And how long has this? We'll talk about this one at the end. I'll just put hold.
Okay.
And Mr. Lane, is this your case?
Actually, Your Honor, I'm showing that we would have needed to be appointed, that he doesn't have an attorney.
Okay, well, if you would do that appointment for me.
Okay.
Okay. And then Jasmine Barnes.
Jasmine Barnes. I'm actually, is Officer Canfield here? We were told that they were
Yes.
going to. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. So we are ready on that.
Defense is ready.
All righty. And then what up? Pernell Barnes.
Officer Ramos is in training all week, so they won't be present.
So at the end of the calendar, if you guys can let me know how long these individuals been in jail. And you said what's going on with this officer? Officer Ramos is what?
Is in training.
Was that starting today?
It's all week.
Because he was in court yesterday.
Oh, that.
He was in court
Well, this
yesterday.
might be a different Ramos. Is Anna
Okay.
Ramos? Yeah.
I don't know the first name, but I know Officer Ramos was in court yesterday. Okay. All right, I'll hold on that one. DeAndre Benton. DeAndre Benton.
Out to bond.
Isaiah Bivens.
That got transferred, I believe.
Transferred where?
I am not sure. My note doesn't say.
Not to interrupt, I've actually got a state court number if you'd like for Bivens.
Okay, yes, if I can get that number.
been bound over. It's 2024
Mhm.
CR 09244.
9244. Okay,
Mhm.
all right, thank you. Tashikia Bogle or Boggle?
Yes, is Officer Dorsey here? I was told that, they were gonna be joining Officer Dorsey. Could we just hang on till the end?
Officer,
It-
Officer Dorsey is present.
Oh, awesome.
And
Where-
actually, Judge, that's one that the defense was going to request a judicial bind over due to mental health concerns.
Okay, so we'll do the judicial bind over on this one.
Your Honor, can Officer Dorsey be dismissed?
Yes, please, have a great day, happy holidays. Tracy Broadnex,
Thank you, ma'am. You too.
that was transferred as well.
I've
The
got a
state court.
number.
Okay, where was it transferred to? It just transferred up to state court, right?
Mhm.
Okay, and what's that number?
It's 2024 CR
Mhm.
09356.
Cecilita Carmichael?
Yes, I think that's Officer Gillespie.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes.
Judge, that's another one defense was going to request a judicial
Judicial.
bind over due to mental
Okay.
health concerns.
And what I may start doing, Attorney Lane, if in first appearance, if we have these concerns, maybe we can get with the public defender's office in advance and do a judicial bind over as opposed to that person just sitting waiting
Okay.
until prelim. Maybe something we can consider. All righty. Odessa Clark?
I'm sorry, Your Honor. Can Officer Gillespie be dismissed now on the Carmichael case?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Clark?
Clark was out to bond.
Thank you. Ela or AL?
I
Ella?
believe that was transferred as well.
You have a number?
I got 20.
I do not. Does Mr.
Uh,
Lane?
Yes, I've got one for Eli. It's 2024
Mhm.
CR 09802.
Okay. Yeah, so when we have transfers, Assistant Solicitor Bing, if we can always get those case numbers, all right?
Yeah. I am learning that. Thank you.
No worries, no worries. Bernard Ellie,
Out to bond.
okay, all right. Dominique Easel,
Is Officer Charlemagne here? I think I saw him.
what officer did you say?
I'm sorry, Officer Just. Charlemagne is the first name.
Is she here?
Yes, he just messaged and said that he's
Okay.
here.
All right, defense?
That's one we would need to be appointed on, and I would need to meet with him. We'd made an offering of a waiver, though, in exchange for an unsecured judicial release. I don't know if Miss Bing
I don't think we can
Agree
do
to
that
that.
on a terroristic threat.
okay. We just need to meet with him real quick and just to see if he wants to have the hearing or not, then
Okay,
and do an appointment.
yes, please. All right, Rashonda Gardner,
Shonda Gardner, Officer Pierre Louise.
Officer Pierre, I see the Officer Pierre down there.
Okay. Just as a quick word, as a quick word, the report says that the charge is a misdemeanor, but in the the report, it's a car, so it seems like it's greater than $1,500. So it may need to be bound over anyway.
Guess you guys need to look at the, verbiage in it, what
Okay,
kind of car it is, I don't know,
okay.
to make a determination. But Officer Pierre is here, so state's ready?
Yes.
And Your Honor,
Yes?
Gardner was one of the ones that was on the felony calendar yesterday, and she has 3 charges, not just, I think it's only showing 1 on the calendar. But you'll see on the warrant that it's actually 3.
So why is it only one on here?
Remember, for some reason, someone put one of her charges on our felony calendar yesterday. She was the
Right.
Gardner that I moved over.
Right, but where are the other 2 charges?
They were added on this yesterday. They're just not on this calendar. I added them on yesterday. This calendar was created last week.
No. So where are the other 2 charges?
I'm sorry. They're in CPUA, the other 2 charges. But I've sent the files over to you, so you'll have it in your files, what those charges are, and I can send over the warrant numbers as well.
So my question is the other 2 on another calendar?
No, I moved them over to this calendar. One was already on this calendar. I moved the other 2 over.
Okay,
They only put 1 on, it should have been 3.
okay. All right, we'll talk about it afterwards. Antoine Gibson? Shouldn't that be a, felony? No,
Antoine well, the officer isn't here. Anyway, let's see.
Attorney Lane?
Well, actually, Your Honor, that was one we were gonna, again, the defense requests a mental health judicial bind over.
Okay. Jonathan Harden?
Jonathan, oh, I have it out to bond.
Okay. Deputy? Deputy?
Yes, ma'am.
On all these out to bonds, can you please confirm that they are not, that you guys don't have them? I'll go back through them in a minute, okay? If you could just listen out for them.
Yes, ma'am, and I'll check with classification and see whether or not they are out the bottom.
Okay, all right. Kamisha Heflin?
That was transferred, but I don't have the number.
I've got a number, Judge. It's 2024
Uh-huh.
CR
Mhm.
09368.
So it was bound over. All right.
Yes, I believe they waived.
Okay, Philip Hill?
That's also been transferred.
And that's another waiver. Its number is state court number 2024 CR 09372.
Sorry, it was CR 09372.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Vincent Holland?
Transferred.
Case
Yes,
number?
it's a waiver, and it's state number 2024 CR 09336.
All right, thank you. Sedarian Houston?
Yes, he's got quite a few cases on the calendar, and I believe all of them involved Officer Kirilova, who is out, I want to say on training.
Do you have anything on this one? Attorney Lane?
Your Honor, defense is ready for hearing. We'd also made an offering. I don't know if they would do a UJR consent bond in exchange for a waiver.
No, we wouldn't be willing to do that.
I guess just for the record, then we'd, object to continuance and request a dismissal.
So I'll hold on this one. Brittany Johnson.
Out to bond.
Mhm. Strickland Kennedy,
Transfer.
State Court. So it was
Yes.
bound over, okay.
Yes, Your Honor, that was one though, when I checked yesterday, at least, they didn't have a state number assigned to it yet, but it did show bound over.
Okay. Mhm. Karen Levitt,
I believe the
That's,
officers here. Oh, Garmel?
Levitt,
Yes, the officer I wanted to say was here. He might have, I hope we didn't dismiss him already.
Negative. He's here. He's trying to get his device off of mute, but Gourmet is present.
Oh, okay.
Judge, actually, that was another mental health. We were going to request a judicial bind over.
okay.
And in that case,
Okay,
Your Honor,
so, yeah, Officer Jeremy, you're free to go unless you have other cases. Dwayne McGee,
Yes, that officer had a conflict. I believe it was a training conflict.
say that again?
I believe that this officer had a conflict. It may have been a training conflict.
Okay, so when you tell me it's a conflict, you got to tell me specifically what it is.
What it is.
So if it's
yeah.
training, I need to know it's training.
Okay, let me see if I can find out.
it's actually it's a doctor's appointment.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you, Chief.
All right, Attorney Lane,
Just, Your Honor, yeah, just for the record, we request a dismissal since the officer is not present.
Mhm. All right, hold on that. DeAndre Mitchell, that says fugitive. I don't know how that get on here. Ernest Mitchell,
Ernest Mitchell. Yes, that's the same officer who had the doctor's appointment.
Judge, actually, on Ernest Mitchell, our notes that I'm seeing an attorney put in there that we actually withdrew from the case on December 5th due to a conflict. I guess there were multiple defendants, and we were already representing one of the co-defendants.
so he's gonna have to be appointed to private counsel?
Yes, and I showed that that had been put into motion, that we drafted the withdrawal and sent it to be filed, and had
Okay.
requested conflict counsel.
All right, so we can continue this one. I think we're going to 1-5 or 1-7. Hold on,
Yes, Your Honor, 1-7.
1-7.
January
All right, we're gonna continue this to January the 7th. Julian O'Connor,
The officer here had a conflict. He was out of town.
go ahead, Attorney Lane.
Your Honor, that's actually one we need to be appointed on, but assuming we were appointed, I'd request an unsecured judicial release, or in the alternative, a dismissal, since the officer's not present.
All right. Joshua Patterson,
Oh, I'm sorry. Did we do O'Connor already? Oh, yes, that was both of them. Sorry.
that's okay.
Patterson.
Mhm.
I think the officer is, no, that can't be right. Let me check with my investigative assistant. Who is the officer? Oh, this person's out for family emergency. It's Officer Rab.
Officer who?
Rabb, R-A-B-B.
Okay. Go ahead, Attorney Lang.
Your Honor, that's another one we need to be appointed on, but if we were assigned to it, we'd request an unsecured judicial release, or in the alternative, a dismissal since the officer's not present.
Raymond Reedy. Raymond Reedy.
Yes, that's Officer Kirilova, who's also out, training, I believe.
Judge, that's one that we were assigned to, but when our attorney went to attempt to visit with Mr. Reedy, he indicated that he wanted to represent himself. So
Yes, he did. Hold on. This is reading. Okay, so Reedy has been in jail since this was November 7th when this was signed, so probably about November 6th. All right. This is too many officers out, and that jail is just overwhelmed right now. Some of these I may go ahead and dismiss. Donald Scott.
Yes, is Officer Oliver here?
What officer? Oh, yes, he's there.
Present, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
Would this be a judicial bind over, Attorney Lang?
no, actually, we did request though an unsecured judicial release in exchange for a waiver, but if we can't get that done, defense is ready for hearing.
Attorney Bing, have you considered that on that charge?
Yeah, I spoke with the solicitor and he doesn't want to do that.
Is this the airport case?
No.
Oh, okay. All right. Give me a moment. Let me look over some of these files and look at some of these cases. But before we do that, Deputy.
Yes, Your Honor.
All righty, go through this really quickly. I just want to make sure these people are not actually in jail. Anthony Sidney.
Don't have him.
Okay. DeAndre Benton.
No Benson.
Okay. Carmichael. No, I'm sorry. Clark. Odessa Clark.
No Clark.
Bernard Ellie.
No Bernard.
Jonathan Hardy.
No Hardy.
Brittany Johnson.
No Brittany Johnson.
Mhm. All right, that's it. And so our first case is actually going to be Officer Oliver's case, the Donald Scott. So Deputy, if you can start bringing Donald Scott.
Real quick, Yana, is anybody that I don't need?
All right, so we can go through that too. Some of these I need to, Isaiah Bivens can go back. That case is already bound over.
Yeah.
Tashikia,
Bivens?
uh-huh.
Oh yeah,
Bivens.
I don't have a Bivens.
Okay. Tashikia Bagel was bound over. Oh, no, it's gonna be bound over. So you can go ahead and send that person back unless Attorney Lane wants to speak with them. Do you need to speak with these? Okay, all right,
No, Your Honor.
okay. All right, Tracy Brotnick can go back. Her case was transferred to state court.
You said Tracy?
Yes,
Okay.
that was Tracy Brotnick. And then A.L., that's a letter A and then E.L. transferred to state court. Antoine Gibson can go back. Her case will be bound over. Kamisha Heflin can go back. That case was transferred to state court.
Your Honor, we don't have none of those.
I ain't got none of those people.
Oh, wow. It's a lot of officers coming in. We may need to go back through this calendar. I just let in about 4 officers. Philip Hill, you don't have him either. It was bound over to state court.
No Philip Hill.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Hold on one moment for me. Okay. And so Vincent Holland, did we get that one? That one is bound over. If you have it, that person can go back.
Okay.
Okay.
Um,
All right.
Strickland Kennedy,
Okay.
her case is already bound over.
Yeah, well,
And that's the only ones I have.
okay.
And so, thank you. Assistant Solicitor Bing, if you can sound for those officers that we announced earlier were unavailable, because I just let quite a few in.
Okay, so to go back through the ones that are unavailable?
Yes, please.
Okay. Okay, let me just pull up my little list. Okay, Officer Lamar, if you're here, Please say present. Officer Ramos. Ana Ramos. Deputy, I don't know how to pronounce this. It's Mdluli, Mdluli. Who else? Officer Kirilova. Officer Loudon. I think that was it. I think they had multiple cases, which is why it seemed like a lot.
Okay. All right.
Your Honor, do you have a William Stokes?
I don't recall that name.
Some of the inmates that's down here that's on our calendar. And I think some of those names was not called on the calendar you have.
I don't have Stokes on my calendar.
What about Jasmine Barnes?
Yes, I have Jasmine Barnes. That's gonna be a hearing.
You have a Jared Antonio Williams?
No, I do not.
Your Honor,
Yes.
it looks like we stopped at Donald Scott. And so your calendar doesn't show Talante Cersei, Shanda Sinkfield, Diego Smith.
Well, let me go back because maybe everything just didn't print. I'm gonna presume. Hold on.
While you're doing that, can I just call for Officer Toombs if he's here to say something? So no, I guess he's not here either. And Officer Rabb, R-A-B-B.
Yeah, Rab had the family emergency. Toombs confirmed to be present today, but we haven't been able to get him on the phone this morning.
Yeah.
It looks like that is what happened. All of it didn't print. So hold on one second because we got to go back through that.
Okay, Your Honor. I think we stopped at Scott. That's where we stopped.
Officer Loudon is here. Can you say something? All right.
Ma'am, this is Major Wilson with APD. I can text him and try and see if I can reach out to him. I'm waiting on William Stokes.
Okay.
Loudon advised he had a conflict. He was out of town today.
Yes, she just asked me to sound for the ones that said they were out, so just in case. And I don't think I had said his name. The officer on William Stokes, sorry, I don't have your name down. What is that?
It's David Wilson with the Atlanta Police Department.
Thank you so much.
And I show Mr. Stokes on the calendar. Good day, everyone. Please continue to stand by. Judge Case Johnson is having technical difficulties. As soon as we resolve those, we'll resume.
Is Sergeant Howard here today? Sergeant Howard?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, great. Thanks so much.
Okay, and what's bigger than 10 pounds?
All right. It looks like we stopped with Donald Scott. Obviously, my computer is doing something. So let's continue on with the ones that I missed. Talante Searcy,
Yes. Yes, I believe Officer King is here.
Yeah, Judge, good morning. I'm here.
Okay, great. Oh, we're ready to go forward on that.
all right, Attorney Lane.
Judge, that's one, I guess we're listed as the attorney of record on the calendar, but I would need to, for whatever reason they're saying on here, I need another appointment order. I guess that it's not in our system, even though we're listed as attorney of record on calendar, but, and then that's one also where we requested a, unsecured judicial release in exchange for a waiver. But if that's can't be done, defense would be ready for hearing.
Is he Assistant Solicitor Bean?
Yeah,
Did you
we're gonna
consider?
go forward with the hearing.
I'm sorry?
We're gonna go forward with the hearing.
Okay. Shonda Sinkfield,
I show that she's out to bond.
as an officer, do you have Shonda Sinkfield?
I do not have her.
All right. Diago Smith,
I see that it's been transferred, but I don't have the number.
Boundover.
Yes, Your Honor, I've got the number if you'd like it.
Okay, please.
It's 2024 CR 09745.
All right, thank you. Donna Spido.
Yes, I just confirmed that Officer Howard is here, so we're ready to move forward on that.
Lane.
And Judge, that's one, if I could, when I go back to meet with the others, I would like to briefly meet with her, but if necessary, defense would be ready for hearing.
William Stokes.
I believe that's Officer Wilson. I think he's here. Officer Wilson?
I'm present.
Yes. So we're ready for that.
And Judge, this is an airport trespass case. We'd offered a waiver in exchange for an unsecured judicial release, but if we can't agree upon that, then defense is ready for hearing.
Yes, we'll move forward on the hearing.
Garrett Sturdivant. Sturdivant.
I show that he's been transferred. Again, I don't have the number.
Attorney
Sorry.
Lane, do you have it?
This will never happen again. I promise.
Okay. And Judge, yeah, that's one. Unfortunately, I believe there's another one on the calendar. I wasn't able to get a chance to look these up, but I am showing that it was. It seems like that is the case, that it was.
Boundover. Okay. Ronald Turner.
Yes, Officer Billingsley is here. I think I saw him earlier.
And Judge, in our file, it shows that he actually did sign a waiver, but for whatever reason, that was not submitted. So I would, if I could just submit the waiver today, we could waive the hearing if the court could process it for us.
Okay. Thank you. Akron Wallace.
Transfer.
Yeah, that's what I was showing, Judge, but I didn't get around to getting the state number on that one.
Henry Wellmaker.
Is Officer Thomas here?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
Okay, great. Thank you. We're ready on that.
And Judge, that's one that I showed that that a waiver was drafted. I'm not sure if it was processed yet or not, but if not, I would just request if we could just submit the waiver and have it processed by the court today.
Okay, so officer on that one, Officer Thomas, you're free to go unless you have other cases.
I do have to ask about one other one, ma'am. I believe I had a Mr. Timothy Woods today.
Oh, I haven't gotten there yet.
Okay.
Yeah, hold on. All right, so John Tavius West.
Your Honor, I'm present. Officer White with John Tavius West.
Okay, thank you.
And yes, Judge, this is a MARTA trespass case. We made a request for a unsecured judicial release in exchange for a waiver, but if we can't agree upon that, again, we'd be ready for hearing.
Yeah, we're ready.
Jerry Williams.
I don't believe Officer Toombs is here. I think Chief got on and explained that he had confirmed that he was to be here, but we're unable to get in touch with him.
Anyway.
And Judge, defense is ready for hearing. We just request a dismissal if officer's not present.
All right, so I want to go ahead and start hearing so we can get through this calendar.
Okay.
Sometime 3, 4, 5.
Officer Canfield is requesting to go first.
Who is?
Officer Canfield.
And that's what case?
Um,
Is it Barnes?
Barnes, Jasmine Barnes. Well, actually, I think she's gonna be first anyway, because
Right.
there's a conflict for the first two, so.
Mhm. Mhm. So on Baker, on Alfonso Baker, I'm gonna continue that case to 1/7. And Deputy, if you can go ahead and get Barnes, Jasmine Barnes, please.
Your Honor, I was here on the Ronald Turner case. You had indicated a waiver might be excused.
On which case?
Ronald Turner.
Yes, yes, you're free to go. Thank you. Happy holidays.
All right, thank you.
Oh.
Are you Jasmine Barnes? All right. All right, now calling the matter of State of Georgia versus Jasmine Barnes. Charged in warrant number 2024 CW 73590, battery family violence. That's the only charge, right?
Yes.
All right. Representing the state is Assistant Solicitor Bean, representing the defendant, Attorney Lane. Assistant Solicitor Bean, your witness.
Okay, I'd like to call Officer Canfield to the Zoom stand.
Good morning, I'm here.
Hi. Can you raise your right hand, please? You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes,
All right, thank you. You can lower your hand. All right, can you state your name, your full name?
I'm Ahmad Canfield.
And are you an officer here in Clayton County?
I am, yes.
And what department do you work for?
I work for Clayton County Police Department.
On or about October 28th of this year, 2024, were you dispatched to 7089 George's Way in Morrow, Georgia?
That's correct.
And is that in Clayton County?
That is in Clayton County.
Can you tell me what the nature of the incident was to which you were dispatched?
The nature was a disturbance call, domestic disturbance call between Jasmine Barnes, her father, Jerome Barnes, and her younger brother, Justice Barnes.
Okay. And so when you arrived, who did you make contact with?
I first made contact with her father, Jerome Barnes.
Okay. And what did he tell you when you investigated?
He advised that he was upstairs in his room and he heard a physical altercation between Jasmine and her brother Justice. He came downstairs and noticed that both of them were kind of like huddled up with one another. Justice was holding Jasmine. He separated them, and Jasmine retaliated by punching and kind of scratching Jerome, her father, in his face. And during that little altercation between the two of them, she snatched his glasses off, and left out of the residence.
Okay. Were there any injuries to Justice?
No, there weren't no injuries to Justice.
Okay, but did you see visible injuries to Jerome?
That's correct.
What did you see?
His face was scratched and his eye was kind of like pinkish.
Okay. Um, did they live in the same household at the time of the incident?
They did reside in the same household, yes.
Were you able to identify were you able to identify Jasmine while you were on the scene? Right?
Yes. The offender, you mean?
Yes.
No, she wasn't there. When I got there, she was not there.
Okay. When did you, so who was the arresting officer? Were you the arresting officer at some point?
No, warrants were obtained for her.
Okay. And so how did she come into custody?
I'm not aware of how she became, like, again, warrants were obtained for her because she wasn't there that night. So I'm not sure how she was arrested.
Okay. When she was arrested, did you interact with her at all at
No.
some point?
No, I wasn't present when she was arrested.
Well, not when she was arrested, but I mean when she came to the facility, to the jail?
No.
No, okay. Okay, so your involvement with the case was just with the victim and the witness.
That's correct.
Okay. So would you be able to identify the defendant then?
Yes, I was out actually with her and another officer the night prior to this incident here.
Okay. Okay, gotcha. So you did have some contact with her, some firsthand contact with her, just wasn't at the time of this particular incident.
At the time of the arrest, correct.
Okay, gotcha. All right. And so do you see, sorry. So when you saw her in a different incident, how did you identify her?
She identified herself. She asked upon us coming to the address, it was just a mediation between her and her father. Our father wanted her out, and again, she told me her name and stuff like that.
Okay, so this was not the first time that there's been an incident at this address.
No.
Okay. All right. And so then the person that identified herself as Jasmine, is that the person that you see here today?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, could you just identify her by, describe her today on the Zoom, maybe 2 articles of clothing or something else?
Yes, she's a brown skinned female, brown hair, a white face mask on and a green jumpsuit.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I think that concludes my questions.
All right, Cross.
Hey, good morning, officer.
Good morning, sir.
So Jerome Barnes is Jasmine's father?
That's correct.
Okay. And how big is Jerome?
Jerome is probably maybe 5'9", 5'10", probably maybe 230 pounds, maybe.
Okay. And then according to your report, Jasmine's about 100 pounds lighter and 5'4".
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And so Jerome's claiming that she did what to him?
She scratched him in his face. And what do you call it? Maybe hit him in his eye as well, but snatched his glasses off in the process of doing that.
Did he receive any kind of medical treatment?
No, he refused.
Okay. And has anyone ever, I know you weren't involved with the arrest of Jasmine Barnes, but has anyone attempted to interview her since her arrest to get her side of what happened?
Not that I'm aware of.
Was there any video of the incident?
No, I was not able to obtain any video footage.
And were there any other witnesses other than just the alleged victim, Jerome, and I guess Justice Barnes was the one who called you all?
No, no others except the two of them.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you, officer. I don't have any further questions.
Any redirect?
No, Your Honor.
Closing arguments?
May I
Ms. Fee?
reserve?
Yes, go ahead. Attorney Lane?
Your Honor, we would just submit with the officer's testimony.
All right, based upon the evidence presented, I do find that there's sufficient probable cause to bind this charge over to the State Court of Clayton County. That's the order of the court. All right, so, and per Nail Barnes, I'm gonna continue that case to 1/7. Next, we're gonna do Dominique Ezel, and that's gonna be Officer Justy.
Thank you. You guys have a good morning.
Thank you.
Sorry, Your Honor, you're not waiting on me, are you?
No, we're waiting on the inmate, right?
Okay, sorry.
Dominique Ezel?
Message from system. Yield Binfo provided to the Skullproc constructor. Product code is RMS.
Officer Jesse, can you mute your device?
Your Honor, Officer White is in training, but he stepped out to testify today. If if there's any way to kind of reprioritize him.
What case is that on? What's the inmate?
Excuse me, do you need me to get Officer White for you?
Yeah, but we will. If necessary, we'll do him next.
Okay, I'll get him. I'll get in contact with him.
Okay,
Your Honor,
thank you.
This is
Uh-huh.
Officer White. I'm here.
Oh, there you go. All right. We're just waiting on the inmate.
Officer White was here for John Tavius
That's the last name?
West, sorry, John Tavius West.
West.
And that was all you were here for, right, Officer White, John Tavius West?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, we'll do that one next. This one shouldn't take very long. Anthony, are y'all trying to get the inmate?
Yana, what was the inmate name? We sorry.
Monique Ezel, Ezell. And what was the other one? So we can go ahead and get both of them.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Oh, these ain't gonna be.
Again? It was West.
Okay.
Last name, I remember that. Last name, John Tavius West.
Yes,
Whoever comes up first is who we will do.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Yana, this is Ezell.
All right, Mr. Ezel, we're about to start your hearing, your preliminary hearing. This is the state of Georgia versus Dominique Ezel, charged in warrant number 2024 WA 86965, disorderly conduct. And 2024 WA 86966, terroristic threats, representing the state. Attorney Bean, representing the defendant, is Attorney Lane. Your witness, Assistant Solicitor Bean.
Yes, I'd like to call up Officer Just. Officer Just, you there?
Yes, good morning.
Oh, okay. When you're ready, just turn on your video.
The inmate doesn't come up, do we gotta
sign?
Come on.
Do you
But
see?
somebody needs to mute, or is that, there's a lot of interference going on.
You want me to mute? I believe it's from the jail, Your Honor.
All right, go ahead, Assistant Solicitor.
Okay, Officer Just, would you raise your right hand? You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. You can put your hand down. Could you please just state your name for the court?
Charlemagne Justy.
Oh, Justy, I am so sorry.
It's okay, Justy, same.
Okay. Are you an officer here in Clayton County?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and what department do you work for?
Sector 1 precinct, the uniform division.
Okay. Okay. On or about November 11th, 2024, were you dispatched to 2940 Anvil Block Road, Ellenwood, Georgia?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and what is that a residence or is it a business?
That's a business. That's the Walmart.
It's a Walmart. Okay. Was that in Clayton County?
Yes, ma'am.
And what was the nature of the incident you were dispatched to?
It was to a gentleman who was being loud and threatened one of the workers that worked there. Said that we would slap the shit out of them.
Okay. All right. When you arrived, who did you make contact with?
I made contact with the victim. She explained what happened.
Okay. And that was it? It was just that was there anything else that happened other than the threat to slap her?
Yeah, okay. She explained that she was getting ready to clock out for the day. And she was working at the customer service area, and the suspect and his friend were standing in line, and she went over to them and explained that she was getting ready to clock out, that another cashier would be out to help them. She explained when she walked away. She explained when she returned, her floor supervisor said that the customers who were online said you told them to get your ass back in line, and she explained she never said that. She said as she continued to go to the back area towards the back area through electronics to go clock out, she made contact with the Mr. Easer again, the suspect, who saw her and immediately became I guess agitated, for a better word. And he started saying all types of words, and he said to her, and she explained that he said, "I'll slap the shit out of you," and called my mother up here. And the victim stated that she wanted to press charges.
Okay. Did the defendant ever threaten to have someone beat her up, the victim up?
He explained that he was there, he was given the run around. They told him to go to customer service to return the item, and customer service sent them to electronics. He said he went while he was at customer service, the victim had told him to get your ass back in line.
Yeah.
And he went to when he went to electron, and he told us that her supervisor, when he went to electronics, she continued to follow him, and that's when he became upset. And he said he never said that to her. He said,
Okay.
told her I would slap the shit out of you. But
Okay. Was he asked to leave at any point that you can remember?
I don't remember. Afterward, he was told by once more people gathered around, because he was loud, he was being loud, drawing attention. Once more people became gathered around, that I remember. One of the persons that work in asset protection, there you go. And he had told him to, hey, you need to leave. Yes.
Oh, okay. And did he refuse to leave?
At that time, everybody was there,
Okay.
basically gathering the information. So he was not allowed to leave.
He was okay, so he wasn't allowed. So I was a little bit confused because the police report, part of it was, it looked like he was either charged or he was warned with criminal trespass. So can you just clarify, was he charged with criminal trespass or was he just warned?
He was warned for criminal trespass. So basically, the way Walmart worked, he caused the disturbance at the place, and the asset protection supervisor in front of us explained to him, once he was, in custody and things like that, explained to him, you're not allowed back here. And they provided him with conditions.
Okay. Okay. And so did you make an arrest at the end of your investigation that day?
Yes.
Okay. Did you just, I'm sorry, I'm sorry if this is actually a repeat, but did you identify the defendant?
Yes.
On scene?
I arrested.
Right, no, I mean, like, how did you identify his name, his identity? How did you?
He provided me all his information.
Okay. Okay. And so the same person that you arrested that day is like, do you see that person here today?
Yes, ma'am. He has the orange jumpsuit. He has the afro, light skin.
Okay. All right. I think that concludes my questions for you. Thank you.
All right, Cross.
Good morning, officer.
Good morning, sir.
Did you ever review any video or audio of the incident?
Yes, I reviewed a video of someone of the victim, of the suspect being upset, being loud, causing a disturbance.
Okay, so there was actual audio that went with the video?
Yes, but not the part where he threatened the victim, but just him being irate and causing a disturbance.
Okay, and you also interviewed another witness, a Mr. Davenport, who was there?
Yes, that was his friend.
Okay, and what did he have to say about what happened?
Mr. Davenport simply stated that they were there to return an item, and they were given a runaround, and he did not say anything specific who said what. He did say there were, words that were said, but he did not say who said them specifically.
Okay. I was looking at your report. Miss Irvin's the Walmart employee?
Yes.
Okay. And according to your report, she told my client to get his ass back in line. This is according to Mr. Davenport.
Yes.
And then also the Walmart employee, the alleged victim here, continued to follow them and gaslight them and continue to make nasty comments that she was going to slap you and F you.
That's what the friend of the suspect said. And she explained she was walking towards the back area, which is through electronics where they were sent. She was getting ready to go clock out for the day.
So Mr. Davenport supports my client's story, correct? That he didn't say what he allegedly said to Miss Irvin, correct?
He did not say anything specific. He did not say Mr. Irving said anything or did not say anything. He just stated random statements.
Including that the alleged victim here was gaslighting them and yelling that she was going to slap them and
Yes.
F you and get your ass back in line.
Yes.
Thank you, officer. I don't have any further questions.
Any redirect?
No, Your Honor.
All right, so let me make sure I understand what happened. He went in there to exchange something, and he was told to go several locations. Is that it kept sending him different places? Is that what happened? And then he became upset?
Yes.
All right, and so how did the young lady come into play again?
She was the cashier.
And then she ended up leaving?
She was getting ready to clock out for the day. She was there to help them and told them another cashier would be out to help you and walked away. When she returned, her supervisor told her, hey, your customers were upset with you. They said you said for them to get their ass back in line. She told me she never said that. She continued to say, as she was getting ready to leave, she walked towards the back of the store, which is where they have the clock out machine, the clock in, clock out machine. And she again made contact with the suspect who were standing where they were sent in electronics. Automatically, the suspect became agitated and
Okay. All right. All right, so Mr. Easel, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. This is so unnecessary. This was so unnecessary. Bad customer service is everywhere. Just imagine if everybody got pissed off every time they got bad customer service. Can you imagine? We wouldn't have any peace in any store. You're fairly young. Now look at your criminal history, and it's ridiculous. You need to get your life together, or you're going to spend the rest of it where you are. I'm so tired of seeing y'all young people doing stupid stuff like this. Just giving your life away for no reason. This was totally unnecessary. So can you imagine if you just would have been quiet? You'd have been home right now. Just don't shop there again. All right, so I'm going to dismiss. I'm not going to charge him with the terroristic threats. But I am going to charge him with the disorderly conduct. That's the order of the court. Deputy, if we can get the next inmate, please.
am I free to leave?
Yes, thank you. All right, so who do we have?
I believe Officer White wanted to go next because he was in training. He just stepped out.
I'm the West person. Are you Mr. West? All right. All right, now calling the matter of State of Georgia versus John Tavius West. Charged in warrant numbers 2024 WA 07417, 2024 WA 07418. He's charged with criminal trespass and public drunk. Representing the state is Assistant Solicitor Bean, representing defendants Attorney Lane. Your witness, Assistant Solicitor Bean.
Yes, Officer White. Oh, there you are. Hi, can you raise your hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, great. Officer White, can you state your name for the court?
Yes, Officer Elon White.
Okay,
Elon
and are you I'm sorry?
Elon Tavius White.
Okay. Are you an officer here in Clayton County?
I am.
Okay, can you tell me what department you work for?
Yes, I work for the MARTA Police Department.
Okay. So on or about November 11th of this year, 2024, were you at Atlanta airport in Atlanta,
Yes.
Georgia? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and were you on the MARTA there?
Yes, I was working at the MARTA Airport Station.
And so you were on patrol there?
Yes.
Okay, and did you observe the defendant there?
Yes.
Okay, could you just tell us what you observed?
Yes, on November 11th, at around 4:00 p.m., I was conducting a detail clearing the trains at the end of the line. As the train came into the airport, the last train came into the airport. Car 6:30, I observed Mr. John Tavius West sleep aboard the train. Certain acts on public transit state law states that once the train comes to the end of its route and an employee advises you to get off, you must reset. So I asked Mr. West, did he have his Breeze card and to go back downstairs to reset his trip just so that he can continue riding. Initially, he was all right with it. I smelled a strong smell of an alcoholic beverage once I woke him up on his person. Initially, he was about to get off the train. Then he got off the train and stepped on the platform, and that's when he became belligerent, started cursing, using profanity. At that time, I told him, just to exit the station, gave him a verbal 12-hour suspension. Mr. John Tavius went downstairs. He continued to be cursing and belligerent while patrons was around. Once we got to the concourse of the airport, he even threatened to beat me up. I still allowed him to exit off the property and told him just to leave the property. I went back into service, going upstairs to clear the remaining trains. Once I got to the top, a few minutes later, I saw Mr. John Tavius West arrive back on the platform. At that time, I advised him he was under arrest. He was placed in handcuffs and taken to the staff room for further processing.
Okay, sorry. I don't know if it was just my computer, but it became a little bit distorted toward the end there. You said,
Okay.
I'm sorry, did you say that he returned? You saw him again on the platform?
Yeah, so after I gave him a verbal criminal trespass, he exited off at the airport, and then a few minutes later, once I went upstairs to clear the trains, I saw him again on the platform.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Can I just backtrack for one quick second? Where you saw him at one Atlanta airport on the MARTA, that is in Clayton County, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. Were you able to ascertain that he was actually drunk, or you just smelled alcohol on him?
Yes. So on my body camera, it is some footage, but I smell the alcohol, and I think on my body camera, like I said, I haven't looked back at it. He did state to him having some alcohol in his system.
Oh, okay. So he admitted that he had been drinking. Did he indicate how much he had been drinking?
I don't think he did, but that's what I'm saying. It's on my body camera. I have so many cases, but he smelled just like alcohol.
Okay,
when I woke him up.
were there any other indications that he was,
Sluggish. He was like kind of sluggish and like how he was moving, kind of slow to
Okay.
move and talking. I know he was just getting up as well, but yeah.
okay. Okay, and so you made an arrest that day, right?
Yeah,
Um,
affirmative.
and the person that you arrested, do you see him here today?
I can't see anything but you.
Oh, are you on your phone?
Yes.
So you have to swipe the screen all the way.
I'm sorry.
Maybe
Yeah,
either
I
swipe
see
up.
him.
Okay, you see him. Could you just describe him for me?
Yes, he has on a red shirt with a white shirt underneath. Black male. Yep.
That's pretty good. That's fine. All right. I think that concludes all my questions. Thank you.
Ross?
Hey, good morning, officer.
Good morning.
Did you observe any physical injuries on Mr. West?
Physical injuries? No.
Yes. Okay. And mentally, I know you say that you believe that he was intoxicated. Did you observe any kind of like mental health issues with him?
No.
Okay. Do you believe he was able to, given his condition, do you believe he was able to understand your commands and questions?
Yes. It was actually people who he knew that was on the train. Like I said, my body camera captured it, told him to stop turning up with the officers or he's gonna be arrested. But yeah, so he understood everything. He said he didn't care.
Okay. And you say this interaction was captured on your body cam. Was the entire incident captured on your body cam?
It was.
All right. Thank you, officer. I don't have any further questions.
And arguments?
No, Your Honor.
Elaine?
No, Your Honor. This is one we'd offered a waiver in exchange for a UJR. We're just submit with the testimony.
All right, based on the evidence presented, I do find it sufficient probable cause to bind both charges over to the state court of Clayton County. That's the order of the court. All right, who are we doing next? Let's see. It's a Pierre with Gardner. Rashonda Gardner. And Officer White, you're free to go. Thank you. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, John. Take care.
You as well.
What did you have for next?
She had a Gardner.
You said Gardner?
Right. First name Roshunda.
Yeah, she's not on my list. Was she supposed to be up here today? She's not on the list.
Rashonda Gardner, yes.
Yeah, she's not on the list. Okay. Yeah, you have to give me many honors because I don't have her on the list, so I mean I gotta call down there and get her.
Okay, so, but hold on before you go. Let me get the next person. So you can go ahead and start collecting.
Judge, that on Garter, that's when we need to be appointed on the jail saying they don't have her on the list.
Yes. Can we get Officer Oliver, Donald Scott? Can we get Donald Scott while y'all are checking or trying to get her? And can I please get Donald Scott while you guys are checking? Are you Mr. Scott? Okay. All right, now calling the matter of State of Georgia versus Donald Scott, charged in warrant number 2024 WA 07280, criminal trespass, representing the state of Assistant Solicitor Bean, representing the defendant, Attorney Mark Lane, your witness, Assistant Solicitor Bean.
Yes, Officer Oliver, hello. Can you raise your hand, raise your right hand for me, please? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Okay. Can you state your name for the court?
Carrie Oliver.
And what? I'm sorry, are you an officer here in Clayton County?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and what department do you work for?
Jonesboro Police Department.
On or about November 6th, 2024, were you on duty?
Yes, ma'am.
And were you dispatched to 297 North Main Street in Jonesboro?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, could you just tell us the nature of that call?
Dispatch advised that an anonymous caller called in stating that there was a gentleman in a tent in a backyard at a residence that he had been previously trespassed from. Upon my arrival, I opened the tent, observed Mr. Scott towards the back of the tent, told him to move towards me to the front, come to me towards the front. He came towards me and I arrested him at that point.
Okay. Sorry, the location to which you were dispatched, that was in Clayton County, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Were you able to identify the person that you were interacting with?
Yes, ma'am.
How were you able to identify him?
I know Mr. Donald Scott from previous interactions within the city.
Okay. And do you see Mr. Scott here today?
Yes, ma'am.
Could you just describe him a bit?
He's in a red jumpsuit with locks, black male, mustache.
Okay.
Sorry, Assistant Solicitor Bean, one moment. Attorney Lane, had you had an opportunity to speak with Mr. Scott? Is this a mental health issue?
Your Honor, an attorney with our office spoke with him and there weren't any notes of mental health issues.
Officer Oliver,
Yes, ma'am.
did you perceive him as having some mental health issues in the past?
Not on any occasion that I've dealt with him, ma'am.
All right, I'm sorry. Go ahead and proceed.
No, I think that actually concludes my questions.
right.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Attorney Lane?
Good morning, officer.
Good morning.
Looking at your report, so how do we know that he was actually previously warned not to be at that location?
Well, during the arrest, my supervisor, Sergeant Uppel, and his supervisor, Major Cato, arrived on scene. I arrived by myself, and as I was calling Mr. Scott out of the tent, my supervisor and the major arrived on scene. Major was present when he was trespassed approximately 3 days prior.
Okay. At this exact location, 297 North Main Street?
Yes, sir.
Okay, because I'm not seeing that in your report. Is there a reason why that's not in there?
Give me just a second. I opened the tent and saw Scott towards the back of the tent. I instructed Scott to stand up and come outside. Scott complied. I took Scott into custody, at which point he asked why he was not given a citation.
Hold on. Okay,
Major
we
Cato
all,
advised
Officer
Scott.
Oliver,
Yes, ma'am.
Assistant Solicitor Bing, we all know you can't read from your report,
Okay.
right?
Major
Cannot
Major
read.
Cato, I'm sorry. Major Cato advised Scott because Mr. Scott did ask why he wasn't given a citation. Major Cato advised Scott that a citation won't be given once he's been given a trespass previously. And that was in the report.
Okay. Yeah, I see where that was in there. I just didn't see specifically because I'm just seeing that this was an anonymous caller allegedly or alleging that he'd been previously trespassed from this location. And
Yes,
then
sir.
you all arrive and you arrest him. And I guess another officer, like you said, Cato, is just telling him that he'd been, that he's not going to get a citation because he was previously warned, but it doesn't say in the report warned by who or how. And so was he given written notice or was it just a verbal warning and was it actually Officer Cato
No, Major Cato was present when he was trespassed several days prior by Officer Scott. He was given written notification at that time. And he vacated the property at that time. He was allowed to leave.
Okay. All right. Thank you, officer. I don't have any further questions.
Right. Any
Yes, sir.
arguments in closing, Attorney Lane?
Just briefly, Your Honor, there seems to be a little confusion on whether and lack of proof in the report and the testimony on whether Mr. Scott was actually previously trespassed from and warned previously from the location, how it was done and by whom. And so we would just request a dismissal of the trespass charge.
All right, I do find sufficient probable cause to bind this charge over to the state court of Clayton County. That's the order of the court. Hold for me, please. And deputy, if you could get the next inmate, please. Donald Spidel, and that's Officer Howard. Sir, you're free to go. Thank you. Officer Oliver, unless you have other cases, you're free to go. Thank you.
No, Your Honor. Thank you. Have a happy
All right.
holidays.
Happy holidays. All right, let's go ahead and start the next hearing. And that's gonna be, are you Ms. Donna Spadell? All righty. All right, now calling the matter of Donna Spadell, warrant number 2024 WA 07342. And that is a simple battery. Representing the state as Assistant Solicitor Bing, representing the defendant is Attorney Mark Lane. Attorney Assistant Solicitor Bing, your witness.
Yes, Officer Howard, are you present?
Your Honor.
I'm sorry, there's another charge, 2024 WA 07340, criminal trespass. Make sure there's not another one. Yes, so she's charged with criminal trespass and simple battery, right?
I'm sorry, I'm here. I could not figure out how to unmute, so I'm here.
Oh, no worries.
Your
Leave
Honor,
your
there
video
were
on.
3 charges, and your video is not showing.
Okay, so Assistant Solicitor Bing, how many charges do you have
I only have
on your
2.
calendar? I only have 2 on my calendar.
That's all I see.
There were, on the
Yeah, it should
calendar,
be 2.
and add the 3rd charge on there, but there were 3 on the warrant.
Officer
You
just
said it
said
was 3
he saw was
charges?
2.
I don't remember 3 for
Oh,
her.
you know what? Okay, so looking at the warrant list, yeah, at the affidavit, I see the criminal trespass, obstruction, and simple battery.
Yes.
But on the calendar, I only see 2.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. It is obstruction. I forgot about that one.
So are we going forward with all 3?
Yeah.
Your Honor, that was one of the ones that was also on yesterday's calendar that was moved over to the correct calendar. It was on the felony calendar.
But why don't I see all 3 charges?
Because
because
it's not on, because the calendar was sent out last week.
See what you're
And
saying? Okay.
yes, and it was just realized yesterday, so it was moved to the correct calendar today.
All right, so we have an additional charge, and that's warrant number 2024 WA 07341. All right, so a criminal trespass, obstruction, and simple battery. All right, go ahead and proceed, Assistant Solicitor Bing.
All right, Sergeant Howard, could you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth so help you God?
I do.
All right, thank you.
You're
Go ahead and just state your name for the court, please.
I'm Sergeant Howard with MARTA Police Department.
With what police department?
MARTA Police Department.
Oh, with MARTA, okay. And you're an officer here in Clayton County, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. On or about November 8th, this year, 2024, were you at 3800 East Main Street, College Park?
That was at the airport. Which is 1 Atlanta Airport Road. Is it Main Street on the warrant?
Yes.
Okay, that is an error because it should not be.
Okay. So on the incident report, it says 1 Atlanta Airport, but on the warrant, it says Main Street. Okay. So were you at 1 Atlanta Airport, Atlanta,
Yes,
Georgia?
ma'am.
Okay, and were you on the train?
No, I was responding to a call. We had a protective specialist, which is kind of like a security guard. He called in reference to someone on the stairwell. So I was responding to a call inside the
Okay.
station on the stairwell.
Okay, and the call that you were responding to, that was in Clayton County, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and can you just describe a little bit of the incident that you were called to?
Yes, it was approximately 10:29 a.m. and one of the protective specialists, Lewis, he called a reference to a female refusing to leave the stairwell. She stated that she wanted to go to jail and she laid down horizontally, blocking the pathway for people to exit the station and go down the stairs. So I interacted with her. I tried a couple times to get her to leave. I even offered to give her some snacks, which I had in the car if she,
Hold on,
moved out of the
Officer
area.
Sergeant Howard, one moment. So
Yes.
are we saying that this is not a mental health defendant?
She didn't show signs of mental health. She stated that she just wanted to go to jail. I believe she's homeless and she had nowhere to go, so she said she wanted to go to jail.
Attorney
You're-
Lane, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Your Honor, just the attorney notes in here. We did speak with her. It seemed like she was able to understand the charges against her. There is some mental health issue, I guess, but she says she takes some medication, and that she wasn't on the medication at the time of the incident, but that she was going to resume medication now that once she's in jail. But yeah, based on the notes here, it seemed like that there is some mental health issues here, but that she was competent to go forward.
You do feel that she's competent to move forward?
Yes, that they believe that she is.
Okay. Go ahead, Sergeant Howard.
Yeah, so I tried a couple times to, help her. I even offered her food. She would refuse to respond. She would not move, would not do anything. So I placed her in handcuffs and escorted her out of the station. While conducting a weapons check, make sure she didn't have anything on her, search incident to arrest, I located a clear glass pipe that had Brillo or copper, had a copper coil inside with burnt ends, which is synonymous with a pipe used for smoking crack cocaine. I found that on her pants. When the pipe fell to the ground, she became angry and kicked me in my leg and started to resist at that moment.
Okay. Is the person that you encountered that day, were you able to identify her name, date of birth, anything like that?
Yes, her name is Donna Spidle, I believe. Spittle. I'm not sure how she pronounces it. She never said her name. I got it from the jail. It's Spidle.
Okay. Okay, and the person that you did say you arrested her that day, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, and the person that you arrested that day, is she here today? Do you see her?
Yes, I see her.
Okay, could you just describe her briefly?
She's wearing a green top, a black female, shaved head.
Okay, all right, thank you. I think that concludes my questions.
All right, Cross.
Hey, good morning, officer.
Good morning.
So you say when you were interacting with her, did it seem like she was able to understand your questions and commands?
Yes, she seemed very coherent.
Okay. Did she have any noticeable physical injuries to her head or body that maybe could have interfered with her ability to understand what you were telling her?
None that I perceived.
And you you said that were you the one that she allegedly kicked?
Yes.
Okay. Was this before or after she was handcuffed?
After she was handcuffed.
Okay. Okay, so she was in handcuffs and then you said she kicked you?
Yes.
Okay. And when you all first encountered her, was she asleep?
When I encountered her, she was awake on the stairwell, but I believe she was initially asleep on the train.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thank you, officer. I don't have any further questions.
Can you redirect?
No, not at this time.
Okay. All right, closing arguments. Go ahead, Assistant Solicitor Bing.
I'd like to reserve, please.
All right, Attorney Lane.
Your Honor, we would just submit with the officer's testimony.
All right, based on evidence presented, I do find that there is sufficient probable cause to bind all three charges over to the State Court of Clayton County. That's the order of the court. All right, so next, did we get, was it Barker or Baker?
Am I dismissed, Your Honor?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, who was the end of they were getting they would have to go and get her. Who was that? What inmate was that?
Garden.
Which one? Garner? Do y'all have her yet? Did y'all get Garner?
She's walking in right now.
Okay, all righty. And then after Garner deputy, we're gonna do Searcy, Talante Searcy. Officer Pierre, good morning. You look tired, Officer Pierre.
I am.
All right, well, let's see if we can hurry and get you out. Good morning. All right, are you Donna Spadell?
No, that was the last case, Judge.
No,
I'm
this is
sorry.
Garden, yeah.
This is Ms. Gardner, Rashonda Gardner?
Yes.
All right, so Ms. Gardner, you are charged, this is your preliminary hearing. You are charged with theft by receiving stolen property, 2024 WA 07348. That's the only charge that she has, correct? Right? It's just
Yeah,
the theft.
that's the only, yes.
All righty. Representing the state is Attorney Assistant Solicitor Being. Representing the defendant is Attorney Mark Lane. Your witness Assistant Solicitor Being.
Yes. Officer Pierre Louis. Is it Louis or Louis?
Well, it depends on what language you want to say that, but Louis.
Okay. Could you raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, thank you. You can put your hand down. If you could just state your name.
Officer Denilson Pierre Lewis.
All right, and are you an officer here in Clayton County?
Yes, ma'am.
Could you tell us what department you work for?
Riverdale Police Department.
Okay. On or about November 8th, 2024, were you on traffic patrol?
I was on uniform patrol, yes.
And did you make a traffic stop at 454 Pinecrest Drive?
I did.
Is that in Clayton County?
Yes.
Why did you make the stop?
Because, well, while I was carrying a car, I received a flock camera hit, which is the cameras we use, license plate readers, one of the license plate readers that we use in the city of Riverdale. It flagged a gray and color GMC Canyon, bearing tag AXI5830 as a stolen vehicle. I then proceeded to advise dispatch of it, who confirmed the vehicle was reported stolen.
Wait, I'm sorry. Did you say it was 5830 or is it 5380?
5380, my error.
Okay, thank you. Continue, please.
AXI 5380 as a stolen vehicle. I then confirmed it with the Clayton County Dispatch Services that we use, who confirmed it as a stolen, as a reported stolen vehicle. I then observed it driving southbound on Church Street, at which time I got behind it. I then followed the vehicle through Howard Street onto Denham Street, awaiting backup officers to conduct the felony stop. Upon my backup arriving, the vehicle did come to a stop, at which time I conducted a felony stop. I first removed the passenger, who was Rashonda Gardner, in the vehicle, and detained her in another patrol vehicle. I then detained the driver, Mr. Alexander Barnes, and detained him. And upon receiving statements from both parties, it was advised that Ms. Rashonda Gardner at another location, seen a friend from her past who requested a ride. She then advised him to drive the vehicle. He was not aware of it being stolen. And she, along with him, both made that statement that he did not know, and that he was just driving because he asked for a ride. At which time she was then placed under arrest at that point in time for theft by receiving stolen property.
Okay. I'm sorry if this is redundant, but Okay. So the driver had no idea that it had been stolen, right?
Correct.
But the defendant told you? No, I'm so sorry. Yes, well, let me ask you. How did you know that the defendant, what role the defendant had played in it? Let's start there.
Based on her statement.
Okay, and just repeat that statement for me.
She advised that she received the vehicle from a boyfriend of hers, boyfriend or a friend of hers, the day prior. She then advised that the boyfriend told her to bring the vehicle home, at which time she stated to him that she was under the influence and she was not bringing the vehicle home. He then reported his vehicle stolen out of Stockbridge, I believe, and then it was entered into GCIC. And when it drove into the city of Riverdale, conducted that felony stop.
Okay. Okay. And when you pulled them over, you obviously pulled the driver's license, but you also got the passenger's license, which is the defendant?
I did not. She did state her information to the other officers who are on scene. I also recognized Ms. Garter from previous incidents within the city of Riverdale.
Gotcha. Okay. Do you see Ms. Garner here today?
I do.
Could you just describe her with a couple of, just briefly?
Yeah, she's wearing a green shirt with a white shirt underneath, light skin.
Okay.
Female.
Okay. Just a final question. You charged her with misdemeanor theft by receiving more than $1,500. Is
Well,
that
that
right?
could have been that must have been an error because it was the value of the vehicle is over 1,500. The charge in itself, according to my report, is over 1,500, and the value of the vehicle is over 1,500, meaning that it should be felony theft by receiving.
Yes, it should be felony. Okay.
Officer
Okay.
Pierre, one question. So she said that she got it from her boyfriend
Correct.
and that her boyfriend just gave her a car and said, drive it.
Correct.
Okay.
So here's one more question. And then maybe it's just your discretion, but why wasn't she charged with theft by conversion?
I mean, the initial taking of the vehicle was not within the city limits of the city of Riverdale. It was reported stolen out of Stockbridge. Therefore, that part should have been done on Stockbridge's side. But based on her retaining the vehicle within the city limits of city of Riverdale, I found probable cause for theft by receiving.
Okay, gotcha. All right, that concludes my questions. Thank you.
Attorney Lane?
Hey, good morning, officer.
Good morning, sir.
How did you arrive at the value of the truck?
Just based on the estimate.
How did you get an estimate?
I just Googled GMC Canyon.
Oh, you just Googled it?
I was unable to make contact with the registered owner of the vehicle at that point in time. But I mean, you can conclude that the value is over 1,500 though, nonetheless.
And Miss Garter, she was a passenger when you stopped the vehicle, correct? She wasn't driving it.
Correct.
Okay. And I'm looking in your report. I don't see in here specifically where you interviewed her, but you're saying that you did interview her?
I interviewed both, and then I did make the statement on report that based off the statements made by both passengers of the vehicle, that it was found that she was in direct control of the truck.
Okay, because it seems like just looking at your report, it looks like I see where you kind of it just said upon further investigation, it was discovered that that she deprived the owner of the vehicle and then given it to her or allowed her friend Barnes to actually or instructed him to drive it, but it doesn't specifically say that she was interviewed. I don't know. It's just kind of vague. It just says further investigation. So thank you, officer. I don't have any further questions.
All right, any redirect?
Yes, just a couple of questions. Just so for clarity's sake, your testimony today is that she was interviewed and that you interviewed her, right?
Right.
Okay. And then secondly, what year was the GMC Canyon?
I do not have one. Matter of fact, one second. It was a 2016.
2016. Okay. Okay. All right. And you don't happen to remember, you don't have to, but you don't happen to remember what it said the value was?
I believe I put 15,000.
15,000. Gotcha. All right. Thank you. That concludes my questions.
All right, closing arguments.
I'll
Assistant-
reserve.
All right, Attorney Lane, closing.
Your Honor, we would just request that this case remain a misdemeanor at best, if not outright dismissed. There's no real evidence on the actual value of the vehicle, and it's on the calendar today as a misdemeanor. And if it's even bound over, it should remain as a misdemeanor. And again, it's even questionable on who was actually involved in the theft. Again, my client wasn't driving the vehicle when it was pulled over, so just based on that, we with request a dismissal at best, but at worst, at this case, just remain a misdemeanor because we have no idea what the value of it is, so it should remain as a misdemeanor.
All righty, Attorney Bing.
Yeah. So typically when a person is trying to find out the value of something, you can Google it or you can look at the Kelley Blue Book value. I mean, this is easily verifiable. That is a 2016 GMC. It's not unreasonable to assume that it's worth more than 1,500. That's the only threshold. I mean, the officer could be wrong that it's not worth 15,000, but certainly it's reasonable to assume that it's not 1,500. And again, you can verify it with a Google search, which is completely legitimate, or a Kelley Blue Book value. Based on the testimony, the defendant went and picked the driver up. So at some point she was in full control of the vehicle and deprived the registered owner who called the police on her. So the idea that, it's murky, we're not sure, if she was ever in control or custody of the vehicle, just doesn't hold water to my mind. So I would submit that to you and ask that you find probable cause. Thank you.
All right, so Ms. Gardner, you certainly knew this car was stolen. It is I'm gonna upgrade this charge to a felony. Ms. Gardner, I don't know what you're trying to do with your life, but this ain't it. But if you want to keep coming and living with us and staying in the backyard, then do it. I don't understand. I mean, these behaviors are it's unnecessary. You have a significant criminal history. I don't know if you have children. I don't know if you have family, but they got to be concerned about your behavior. And seems like you're just running around Clayton County committing crimes. So I'm going to upgrade it. I'm going to bind it over. And hopefully, Ms. Gardner, when you do get out of this, you'll find a way to get your life together. All right? Good luck to you, ma'am. All right, can we do Searcy next?
I'm sorry, Judge. Am I dismissed?
Yes, you're dismissed. Thank you. And, Attorney Lane, you're gonna send me the appointment on this one?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. And then how many do we have remaining?
Your Honor, I show Houston, Stokes. Those are the two buckets remaining.
All right, thank you. So we can go ahead and tell them who to have next. Stokes will be next. So Deputy, if we can get Searcy, please, and then Stokes.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. And Searcy only has one charge, am I correct, a forgery?
Yes,
right.
just one charge on my end.
Okay, all right. All right, are you Mr. Searcy? Yes? All right, Mr. Searcy. We're about to start your preliminary hearing. This is the state of Georgia versus Talante Searcy, charged in warrant number 2024 CW 51079, first degree forgery. Representing the state as assistant solicitor Bean, representing the defendant is Attorney Mark Lane. Your witness, Assistant Solicitor Bean.
Yes, is Officer King here?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. Could you raise your right hand for me? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, thank you. You can put your hand down. Can you just state your name for me?
Officer Anthony King, Forest Park Police Department.
Okay. And are you an officer here in Clayton County?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. On January 26th of 2024, were you dispatched to 141 Forest Parkway, Forest Park, Georgia?
At that moment, I took that report in our Forest Park Police Department's watch office.
Because you did not respond?
It wasn't a call to go out. The individual called in, and I took that report.
Oh, gotcha.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, where that incident took place, where they were coming from or calling from, that is in Clayton County, right?
That's correct.
Okay, and is that a residence or an establishment? What is that?
That's an establishment.
Could you tell me what it was specifically?
Truist Bank.
Truist Bank.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and just if you could just describe a little bit about the call, about the complaint.
Okay. At that time, it was more so a three-way call between Mr. Scarborough and Miss Scarborough and her husband. They called in reference to some bad checks that they received, notifications notification from the bank stating that her account been hacked. She stated that she didn't recognize it until maybe a little while after the incident happened. In that reference, she called us in and made mention that there was a few names that came up that could have been involved in the possible hack. At that time, Mr. Scarborough mentioned that he did some research of his own. He used tools on social media such as LinkedIn that connected him to other individuals, and he kind of went in depth of trying to find a little bit more information. Again, he provided that information to us, and it led back to the Truist Bank, a Waffle House, which was like literally next door to each other. So I want to say he believed that it could have been some kind of connection. One of the individuals that he found on the LinkedIn profile had like a uniform, which was like a Waffle House. So I'm assuming he kind of made that connection, and he just kind of just provided us with the information in reference to that. So we kind of just looked in depth. They did provide kind of like the fake documentation on like the checks. My lieutenant in the detective department kind of went thorough in reference to that, kind of looked at the footage and different things in that, as you can see in the report. So I just kind of just took the basis of it based off the general details of the information that they provided.
Okay, so when I read this report, it was very involved. So
Yes.
so if you wouldn't mind, I'm just going to try to drill down a little bit,
Yes.
just for clarity's sake. Okay.
Mhm.
In your testimony, you said there were a few names that were involved that one of the victims gave you, right?
Correct.
Based on his own investigation. Well, let's just start here. Was one of the names Talante Searcy or no?
That's correct.
Okay, so that was one of the names. Have you any idea how well were these checks that were like physical checks that were stolen? Because when they say that a bank account has been hacked, that sounds electronic to me, right?
Mhm.
Like through electronic wiring, but I saw in the police report that it said something about actual checks. So were you able to see that they were actual checks?
I did see the checks with their names on it, and it was mailed to a specific address, and
Gotcha.
that's where the complaint was made. You know, he again from finding that address again, he dug deep and tried to make connections as well, just to kind of get as much information that he can provide for us, and then for us being that we're so close to where the actual bank was, where the transactions could have been completed. So that's where he furthermore connected with us, called us, and see if we can kind of look into it, possibly getting like camera records and who the teller was at that time for those checks being cashed with.
Okay. So was Talante Searcy's name on any of the checks?
I believe so. That's one of the names that she did provide.
Okay. And do you remember what amount that check was issued for?
I can't remember offhand. Again, those documents were loaded up and to connect it with that. My lieutenant that did the further investigation possibly can provide that.
Okay, if you're I'm sorry, if you're not able to remember, would looking at the report refresh your memory or whatever, would looking at whatever your lieutenant had refresh your memory?
Yeah, you mind?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Let me see. I don't have the exact copies of that on my end. At the time, I think I did it on my in the watch office in the police department itself. There's a possibility that that may be there as far as uploading, and I know my lieutenant could have had that those documents as well once I passed on.
So you're not able to access the narrative?
I just see the narrative. I don't have the uploaded documentation for the checks.
Okay, so take a look at the narrative and see if there's anything there that might refresh your memory.
Okay, let's check it out here. Okay, this is yes. I'm not seeing a direct number.
Do you see a range or
As far as the total or specific amount?
specific amounts on the checks?
Less than 500.
Less than 500?
I'm sorry. Account with those checks. No, that's something else. I'm sorry. Let me see. Maybe another-
sorry. Yana, did you hear me? I'm sorry, Daniel.
That's upward of 1,400. Exceeded. So it's stating here it did not exceed that they
Well, hold
saw.
on, don't read. You're just refreshing.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was about 1,400. I know specifically, and this was over a period of time, right? So it wasn't just that one time. And again, it was totaling up to that 65,000. So each check could have been about 14, I want to say about 14.99. I don't think they went to a specific, a little bit more than that.
Okay, so they were careful not to go over 1,500
Right.
or over. That's what it
So
sounds like.
I had to dig deep into like outside of my specific information that I initially, so that's where I noticed that.
Okay, and well, okay. And at least one of them, at least one, was issued to Talante Searcy.
That's correct.
Okay. Okay. Do you know how Mr. Searcy came into custody? If you only took the call, the report?
As I looked deeper into it, it was camera footage that reflected this gentleman making those making those transactions. My lieutenant did look into that camera footage, and she got him from Truist Bank after filing several recommendations to get that footage, and they did make that arrest.
Okay, and the arrest was of Mr. Searcy.
That's correct.
Okay, and so were you able to view that footage yourself?
Not myself, no, ma'am.
Okay, have you ever seen Talante Searcy before?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Your Honor, could you give me one quick second to consult co-counsel for a minute? Thank you.
Your Honor.
Are you referring to Mr. Searcy? Cam?
You said what now?
I saw a message in chat. I was trying to figure out who.
Yeah, that was us. I don't know if y'all was aware, but he already bonded out on this charge. I didn't know we were still supposed to have a hearing or not, but he already bonded out on this charge in our record.
Talante Searcy?
Correct.
Okay, stand by. We'll have Your Honor address it.
Okay.
Someone can please just verify that.
I'm speaking now, Your Honor.
Officer King, did you see Mr. Tiercy when he was brought into the jail?
No, ma'am.
Okay, that concludes my questions. Thank you.
Go ahead, Attorney Lane.
All right. Good morning, officer.
Hi, good morning, sir.
So I'm looking at your report. I don't see anything stating that you have an exact check number tied to my client, Talante Searcy. Is that correct?
I just noticed the amount, again, the exact checks that the complainant filed. I don't have those documents currently with me. So there wouldn't be a connection, a specific number that would go back to that at this moment, sir.
And you don't have an exact amount either?
I don't believe so, being that I don't have those documents. So there would be no way to have an exact amount.
Okay. All right. Thank you, officer. I don't have any further questions.
Hold on.
Your Honor, I sent the information in the chat.
Yeah, I saw it. So it appears that he's there on some other things.
And Judge, we have been appointed, I believe, on some other cases, but this one we have yet to be appointed, so we need an appointment order that I can draw up.
All right, so at this point, because he's already bound over, he waived, at least on this charge, he waived his preliminary hearing. But I'm gonna go ahead and bind it over. All right.
And
All
Your
right,
Honor,
what about, yes?
it was as of yesterday. They
Oh.
bonded him out as of yesterday.
Okay, all right, so I just still bind it over.
I'm clear.
And so, Donald, you're free, sir. Who are we doing next?
I'm free as well, Judge.
Yes, have a good one.
Judge, I'm sorry, did I miss the disposition on this?
He already bonded out on the charge, which means he waived his preliminary hearing when he bond out.
Oh,
So
we
I
didn't
just
have
went
to do
ahead and
anything.
bound it over.
Oh, okay.
I just went ahead and bound it over.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
Thank you. All right, and Deputy, who are we doing next? I mean, I know that I told you who to bring next. I think was it Scott?
Stokes, Your Honor. William Stokes. And then last we have Houston.
All righty, do we have Mr. Stokes? So Mr. Stokes just has one charge.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
All right.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Stokes, we're about to start your preliminary hearing. This is the state of Georgia versus William Charles Stokes, charged in warrant number 2024 WA 17338. Representing the state is Assistant Solicitor Bean. Representing the defendant is Attorney Lane. Assistant Solicitor Bean, your witness.
Thank you. Officer Wilson, how are you?
Good, ma'am, yourself?
I'm fine. Could you raise your right hand for me? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, thank you. You can put your hand down. All right, could you give your full name to the court?
It's going to be Major David Wilson of the Atlanta Police Department.
Okay, so I should not call you officer. I'm so
No,
sorry.
that's fine. That's all right.
And you are a part of you are an officer though in Clayton County, right? Or you're a major with
Yes,
Clayton.
well, at the time of the arrest, I was assigned as the captain of the Atlanta airport under the city of Atlanta. Correct.
Okay. Okay. So
And
then,
that's in Clayton County. Yes, ma'am.
okay, okay. And on November 7th or on or about November 7th of this year, 2024, were you on duty at 6000 South Terminal Parkway?
I was actually, I don't know if you want to consider it on duty or off duty. I was working my extra job for Delta in the South baggage claim area in the South Terminal.
Okay.
So I was still, yes, I was using my law enforcement capabilities, but I was working a part-time job. But at that time, I was also normally assigned to the airport. Yes.
Okay. But you had authority to make arrests?
Yes,
in
yes,
that
ma'am. Yes,
okay.
ma'am. Yes,
Okay.
I was still working in my law enforcement capacity. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, perfect. And that location is in Clayton County, yes?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What did you observe at the location?
When I originally observed Mr. Stokes, he was actually talking to Officer Como, who was another officer for the city of Atlanta, who was working his extra job in the same area. I recognized Mr. Stokes. Mr. Stokes for the year has probably about 4 or 5 either criminal trespass warning interactions or criminal trespass incidents where he's been arrested. That's just for 2024. His last criminal trespass warning was issued, I believe, on November the 2nd. And when I was reading over my reports from my officers from the previous night, which actually would have been that morning, Mr. Stokes, I saw his name come up as an individual who was at the airport that previous morning, but was actually transported off site. But like I said, he was immediately recognizable. He's, I don't want to say a high flyer, but he's an individual that refuses to stay away from the airport in spite of multiple criminal trespass warnings. And I know he has at least one other subsequent arrest for 2024 for criminal trespass.
Okay. And the November 2nd one was specifically for the airport, right?
Yes, all those interactions that I'm referencing are all for the City of Atlanta Police Department for the airport section. Yes, ma'am.
Gotcha. Okay. Is the person that you know to be Mr. Stokes, is he here on the Zoom today?
Yes, he's gonna be the black gentleman with the white mask and the red shirt in the picture.
Okay, all right, thank you. That concludes my questions.
Ross?
Hey, good morning, officer.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Hey, pretty good. Does Mr. Stokes, you said you're familiar with him?
Yes.
Okay. Is his fiance work at the airport?
I'm unaware of that. During that interaction, he never mentioned that he was there to visit anybody. What does she do at the airport? Do you know?
No, I just know that, you know, from discussions that she works at the airport.
That's the first time I've ever heard of that, sir.
And then as far as your encounter with him on that date, did it seem like mentally he was lucid and able to understand your questions?
He was, but I'd also like to add, in reference to what you just said, I asked him specifically that night why you were at the airport, and he couldn't answer the question. Now, if he had said to me that he was there and he could prove to me that his girlfriend or fiance or wife was there, that would be different, and it'd be something else I could have investigated. But he offered no such information on that night.
Okay. And you said that when you were speaking with him, though, did it seem like mentally that he was there, that he was lucid?
Yes, outside that he refuses to stay away from the airport, I would say that yes, he is completely normal. And he was that night during my interaction.
Okay. And as far as his physical condition, did you observe any injuries to his head or body that could have?
He looks just like he looks today, sir. Not a scratch on him.
Okay. And was this recorded on your body cam, your interaction with him?
I did not have my body camera, sir.
Okay. You know if there was any other video footage? I would imagine so.
I mean,
at the airport.
had you needed it, I mean, the airport would have had their general surveillance cameras, but I mean, it was Mr. Stokes on that evening. And I believe the transport officer probably had their body worn camera running if you were concerned about it actually being Mr. Stokes.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, officer. I don't have any further questions.
Happy holidays, sir.
Any
Happy holidays.
redirect? Any redirect?
Just one quick question on, you mentioned that I guess on the 7th, when the incident occurred, that he did not indicate that there was any reason for him to be there. Is that also the case for the 2nd?
I don't recall the second. I know that we have the paperwork. In my police report, I listed out all of the other interactions that the Atlanta Police Department has had with him. But I can't speak to that one at this moment, unfortunately.
Okay, all right.
But
Thank you.
normally we go over, if someone's issued a criminal trespass warning, we go over all the exceptions to the city ordinance about the airport being closed 24/7. So if you were there to fly, you had a ticket. If you're there to pick somebody up, you're there for official airport business, like say you're trying to get a job. If you're there and those are things that we can tangibly prove, then you'd be clear and you'd have quite one of those exceptions. But again, I asked him, he couldn't answer me. I'm like, you're not supposed to be here. I told him, I said, hey, you're not supposed to be here. Why are you here this evening? So he was given a clear opportunity to say, hey, I'm here to see my fiance, which again, never occurred.
Okay, thank you so much. That concludes my questions.
Closing arguments?
Reserved.
Attorney Lane?
Your Honor, again, this is one we'd offered a waiver for in exchange for unsecured judicial release. We would just submit with the officer's testimony.
All right, so based upon the evidence presented, I do find there is sufficient probable cause to bind this case over. Mr. Stokes, stay away from the airport. Stay, when you go, you're going to jail. Away from the airport, okay? Unless you just like coming here, unless you just like seeing us, unless you just like staying back there. And if that's the case, then go back. All right, good luck to you, sir.
Your Honor, happy holidays. Thank you, Madam Solicitor.
Happy holidays, thank you.
All right, you done?
Sir, let's go.
You done? What house are you today? What house are you? Yeah. No, what house are you? Where did you come from? We'll find out what housing either way.
All right, so
Sir, move this way.
Go
This
that
way.
way, go that way.
Oh, okay.
Don't stand by the door. We'll find out what housing.
Go all the way out to go.
what about Houston? Officer in training. Let me,
For Houston, Your Honor, I have a hearing.
I have that the officer is not unavailable. Is that right, or am I?
Yeah, the officer's unavailable. That's Officer Yarulova.
All right, so. All right, so there's a lot of office conflicts here. What about Reedy? Wait a minute, did we already do that one?
That's Officer Kirilova.
Yes.
So she's not here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All
she
right.
had quite a few cases, so.
Officer Kirilova had a training conflict, and it was already posted into the conflict portal.
Okay, all right, thank you. Officer Toombs is unavailable to appear as well.
Yes.
For Jerry Williams.
Yeah, well, he had
Your Honor.
said that he was, oh, go ahead, Chief.
Your Honor, he finally reached back out to me, and if it was my error, I told him that the case had already been dismissed, but I can get a hold of him. He advised that he was in the jail and was dealing with a particular situation and was unable to break away to log on, but I can call him back if we're available to hear his case now.
Yes, if we can get this done, that would be great.
Yes, ma'am. Give me 2 seconds.
Okay, and then let's go with the remaining issues here. Do we have any other hearings other than
Your Honor, Deputy Toombs is logging on right now.
awesome?
I didn't have any other, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
In the meantime, Your Honor, how are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing good, Judge Case Johnson. Just on here with Miss Bing. Didn't have a chance to say hello before because Miss Bing was over here kicking butt and taking names. So
exactly. Good to see you.
Always great to see you, Your Honor. And
All
you
right,
too,
so
Mr. Mayor.
Hey,
I
all
see
right.
Toombs is on. I see Toombs is
Happy
on,
holiday.
Deputy. And Officer Toombs, thank you for logging on. We appreciate that.
Thank you, Your Honor. Sorry for the delay earlier. I was inside of the jail handling a matter and I got.
That's okay. That's okay. You're here now. So Jerry Williams, can we get Jerry Williams, please? And Jerry Williams just had one charge, right? The terroristic threats.
I see obstruction of an officer on the warrantless arrest. Probable cause affidavit.
Officer Toombs, did you charge him? How many charges did you charge him with?
If I'm not mistaken, Your Honor, I believe it should be just 2 charges.
Let me try to find this.
I'm checking Your Honor.
It's going to be a total of 2 charges, Your Honor, just terroristic threats and obstruction of an officer.
Judge, according to our notes, I'm showing, I guess it would have been the obstruction was dismissed.
First appearance?
That must have been the notes on November
Yes,
20.
Your Honor. It does show dismissed in CPUA. It was dismissed. It says released by jail. That's what it's showing. And it says dismissed magistrate court.
All right, so we will only be going forward on that 1 charge of terroristic threats.
Supposed to be bringing somebody up, you know?
Yes, Deputy, if we're waiting on Jerry Williams. All right, Mr. Williams, we're about to start your preliminary hearing. Now calling the matter of State of Georgia versus Jerry Williams, warrant number 2024 WA 86705, terroristic threats. Representing the state as a assistant solicitor Bean, representing the defendants, Attorney Lane. Your witness, Ms. Bean.
Yes, Officer Toombs, if you could show us your video, please, and unmute yourself. Hi. Good morning. Could you just raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. You could just state your name for the court.
Deputy J. Toombs, Joseph Toombs, Clayton County Sheriff's Office.
Okay. I know you said the Clayton County Sheriff's Office, but you are an officer here in Clayton County, right?
A deputy, not an officer.
I'm sorry, deputy in Clayton County. Okay. So on or about the 6th of November of this year, 2024, did you respond to 9157 Terra Boulevard, Jonesboro, Georgia?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm sorry, is that location in Clayton County?
Yes, ma'am. It is the Clayton County Jail.
Okay. And so could you tell us kind of what the nature of that incident was?
Yes, ma'am. So in essence, there was a separate incident that I was dealing with another inmate who was being escorted to housing unit 5, section 6, room 602. That is where he was being placed from another incident that occurred in another part of the jail. Housing unit 5 is a disciplinary unit where, of course, inmates go if they do commit a violent offense or if they break certain rules within the facility.
Okay, could you be a little bit more specific about what he did? Did you say anything?
Oh, for Mr. Williams. Okay, so pretty much as I brought the other inmate down to that housing unit, and I had him restrained with his hands cuffed behind his back. So as I opened the door to room 602, Mr. Williams was standing at the door. And naturally, in that case, you don't know whether someone could try to assault another inmate or what. I didn't know whether they had any history with each other or anything like that. So our protocol is to have the inmate who is within that cell to step toward the back of the cell. And from there, we bring the inmate that is cuffed into the cell, uncuff them in the cell, And then from there, we remove ourselves from the cell and secure it back. So from there, Mr. Williams, I told him to step back. And he stated to me, I am back, even though he was probably 1 foot away from the door. So he, in fact, was not back. I told him, step to the back of the cell. And I said that specifically, step to the back of the cell. And Mr. Williams became belligerent and started using offensive language, pretty much challenging me. So from there, I told Mr. Williams, sir, step to the back of the cell. I repeated it again. And Mr. Williams continued, of course, to use offensive language. This is all, of course, recorded by my body-worn camera. And at that time, Mr. Williams said that he will punch me in my teeth. And he called me a bitch as well. He said, you a bitch, I'll punch you in your teeth. Of course, once I heard him say that, that changed the game. So from there, I grabbed him, placed him in handcuffs, and then that was when I took him up to the jail intake area to take out the charge on him for terrorist threats.
Okay. Do you see that same person that threatened you here today?
I can't really see the screen that well.
You're not able to identify the person that...
Well, my screen, for me seeing you, it shows you in large, but all of the other...
Sorry, if you're on a phone, you'll have to swipe the entire screen.
I'm on my laptop in my patrol car, but everybody else's is a small little screen above you, but yours is big. I can't see everybody's largely.
That's true. Do you see a blue button at the top at the right? It's like an arrow, and it'll scroll through all the little boxes.
I see it. So let me see, how do I go to... I just scrolled all the way to the right with it. Okay, perfect. All right, I'm on it now.
Okay. Do you see that same person that you interacted with that day? That threatened you that day?
I do.
Pardon? You said you do?
Yes, ma'am.
Could you just describe him briefly? What he's
Black
wearing,
male,
what he looks like?
Orange uniform and glasses.
Okay, perfect. I think that concludes my questions. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
Honey Lane?
Hey, good morning, officer.
Good morning.
Did you you said you were bringing in another inmate to I guess share the cell with Mr. Williams, is that correct?
Correct.
And was this a new inmate, or had they been in there before? Or?
I don't know whether he had been in Clayton County prior to my interaction with him for any other charges from the past, but I can tell you that he was an inmate in the Clayton County Jail at the time. I don't know what his charges were.
Okay. Do you know if there was a history between Mr. Williams and this new cellmate?
That I don't recall. You know, I wasn't able to gather any of that information as far as I can recall.
Okay. And do you know if Mr. Williams suffers from any mental health issues?
That I don't know.
Okay. Do you know if he's on any medication for mental health issues?
That would be something that you would have to refer to the medical staff at the jail. I don't have that information.
Just your interaction with him, did he appear lucid? Like, did he understand your commands and questions?
Yes, he did. And it seemed to me that when I said what I said to him, that it agitated him.
Okay. In his physical condition, did he appear to be okay? Like he didn't have any physical injuries to his head or noticeable injuries to his body that would have affected his ability to understand what you were saying?
I don't recall whether he had any previous injuries or not at that time. I don't recall that.
Okay. All right. Thank you, officer. I don't have any further questions.
Any redirect?
No.
All right, closing argument.
I'll reserve. Thank you.
Your Honor, yes, the defense would just submit with the officer's testimony.
All right, so based upon the evidence presented, I do find that there's sufficient probable cause to bind this charge over to the State Court of Clayton County. That's the order of the court. right, and so for the officers that are in training or medical leave, do we know their return dates?
Well, maybe I should defer to the chief on that. My understanding is that it was for the entire week, and so the assumption is that they'll be back next week.
So on Houston,
On Houston,
we're gonna move that to next week. I know the calendar has been
Yes.
printed. Yes?
Yes, ma'am. Her training conflict is over tomorrow, and she is actually scheduled for traffic bench trials on Thursday, and she has committed to be here for that.
Great.
I was notified that Officer Lamar is using FMLA time and didn't give a date. I don't know.
What
if you
case
can
is that
follow.
one?
Officer Lamar.
She was on Baker.
Okay, great.
Baker? Okay, that one is already, all right, so we moved that one to 1/7. What is this defendant's on date of birth? I can't read it on his warrant.
Williams?
No, I'm sorry, for Houston. I don't have a criminal history on Houston.
I have
93?
5/24/93 for Houston.
That makes him
Yes.
how old? How old does that make him? I can't count.
And that's do math, hold on.
Right.
31.
Okay. And he does have bonds on each one of these charges.
Judge,
Okay.
Right, so why is there a $5,000 bond on an expired tag?
He
It
has
says,
a he has a DUI less safe. He has an improper lane change. He has open container, reckless driving, limited driving permit, no tag, no insurance, disorderly conduct.
yeah, but $5,000 on a tag?
I have no idea. I don't.
Judge.
Yes.
Yes, Judge. I'm wondering, that's gotta be a typo, because I'm seeing on the intake, it shows 500.
Okay, yeah, on my calendar, it says 5,000.
Let me see if. Double check CCI maybe.
And have you talked to this defendant, Attorney Lang?
Yes, Your Honor, I didn't personally, but an attorney from our office did.
And so you guys couldn't try to come up with something? Do you know if he'll be able to make any amount of a bond?
Well, he'd requested an OR bond or requested a reduction in bond
I
and
know that, but
so,
is there
you
any
know,
amount that he could make? Do you know?
Here and see if there's an exact amount. I don't see where an exact amount was discussed. It was just an OR or a reduction.
I don't know if this calendar is correct, because I see the DUI at 500. Is that what you have on your calendar? The calendar is just not right.
Just gonna try to look up here.
Your Honor.
Mhm.
Part 3, page 116 is Mr. Houston's information. And it shows
What is it? Part what
Part
now?
3.
Part 3, hold on. Right, I have that information, but I'm saying I don't have his criminal history. Do you see that?
Oh, no, Your Honor, it jumped to Mr. Jackson. Please stand by.
Mhm.
And Judge, I am showing that in CCI as far as the $5,000 bond for the tag. So we would certainly request an adjustment in that.
See it as 5,000?
Yeah, according to CCI, but it looked like when we were appointed, where they handwrite the amounts, it had 500, which would seem like that's
Right, expired. Yeah, that must be
Yeah, Your Honor, that's what we have as the written one. It say expired tag is 500. That's the written.
that.
Also, Your Honor, yes, that is correct. 116. It looks like Mr. Houston had an AKA. Jackson and Houston was on the criminal arrest warrant. The criminal history. Sheridan Jackson as well as Sheridan Houston.
Okay. But do you see tag is $5,000 in CPUA?
One moment.
Mhm. All right, so I'm gonna move Houston to 17. Continue that to 17. 17/2025.
and Judge, we could look at getting the bond corrected.
She's gonna tell me now if it's
Yes, it is 500, Your Honor, and Judge Bridgewater did initial next to it. It was 5,000. She crossed it out and put 500.
system. What is the system saying? Because that's what the jail is gonna go by if he wants to bond out. Not just the paperwork, because on here it clearly says 5,000. I just want to,
What did you say about him, Yana?
I'm asking, what is the system saying is his bond? We may have an order somewhere that says something different, but unless the system reflects that, he won't be able to bond out and it's gonna remain 5,000. So let's just make sure that that it is in fact 500 and not 5,000.
No can go up.
You asked him what was his total bond?
Yes.
Is-
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Can you not make right now, and with my car, I can make a $7,000.
All right, hold on. I got a call, hold on.
On the 73 from here in section 605.
Your Honor. It says 500 in CPU rate for case number 2024 WA07328,
All right.
which is expired registration.
And it's 500. Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
All righty.
But the expired tag ends in 3-2 and it's showing 5,000. But it should be just 500.
Are y'all looking at the same thing?
The expired tag in our system shows DUI. 07332 shows DUI.
Well, I have it here, 332 on the calendar. It says it's expired tag.
Oh, okay. It looks like Judge Bridgewater wrote them all incorrectly on the order for bond.
What is the system saying? Because you know, we have to input it in the
Yana, his
system.
total bond is $13,850. A little bit.
I want to go down wrong.
Well.
Okay, thank you. So what
I
we
see
got to
what you're
figure.
saying, Your Honor. Yeah, it does show where 28 is 500, and let me go to 32. 32. Three-two shows 5,000.
Okay, no, we're not doing that.
And it's supposed to be DUI.
The DUI is a 2.8.
So I guess what Judge Bridgewater did was on the warrantless, she based it on the warrantless arrest and put the correct charges next to it based on the warrantless arrest. Warrant. She changed it on the order for bonds.
So basically, it's still the same because I see the DUI is at 500.
Right. No matter what, the total of the bond is correct. It's just in different spots.
Yes. Total bond is 13,850. All right, and so Assistant Solicitor Bing.
Yes.
All right, so are you willing to go down on any of these bonds or not?
My understanding of the solicitor, well, I shouldn't say that. I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that just yet. I would want to defer to the solicitor, if that's okay.
Yeah, it appears that he does have a substantial criminal history.
Hey,
All right.
Judge, I would just say at this point, if you said it's going to be reset to January 7th,
Mhm.
so that would be 2 months. He will have been in jail. I would just request if we could get some relief on the $5,000 bond, maybe getting that reduced down to 500 to knock some of the total down.
You talking about the 5,000 on the tag? I thought that was just an error.
however
it
they
is an
wanna,
error.
yeah,
It's
however they
just
wanna.
switched. It's just switched. But, and he's been in custody since November.
Yes, I'm showing November 8th.
All right, so even though it's an error, I'm gonna go down on that tag from 5,000 to 2,000. And then I'm gonna go down on that disorderly conduct from 1,500 to 1,000. It's the only ones I'm willing to change.
Thank you, Judge.
So
And do I
I'm
need to
gonna do
submit
that
an
order.
order?
Yes. And so
Okay.
the 5,000 went down to 2,000 and the 1,500 went down to 1,000. And then I'm gonna continue it to January the 7th. Righty. So is there any further business today?
Judge, I wasn't sure on McGee. Did we get a date for that? That seemed like the officer was out on a doctor appointment.
Yeah, I'm going through one more time here.
No. So Yana, what is his total bond now?
I took off 3,000. I took off 3,500.
Okay.
All right, so on McGee, I'm just gonna move that to 1,700. Officer conflict. And then O'Connor.
That officer was out of town.
When was Mr. O'Connor placed in jail? What date was he arrested?
Let's see here.
And y'all can you tell me what file it's in?
One moment, Your Honor.
November 8th, he was arrested.
Okay. Actually on probation. I'm gonna move this to 1,700.
You still need the information, Your Honor?
No, I found it. Thank you. That one is gonna be moved to 1,700. And then Patterson.
Yes, Officer Rab. He had the family emergency. So I don't know when that will end.
I'll move it to 1-7. I need the appointment on that one, Attorney Lane.
Okay.
Who was that, John?
Patterson, moving to 1-7. And then Reedy,
That was Officer Kirilova. I thought you said that all of her cases would be moved to 1-7.
all right, I did say that. 1-7.
Your Honor, does that include Pernell Jones? I'm sorry, Barnes.
Yeah. On which one?
Pernell Barnes?
Yeah, I moved him to 1-7.
Thank you.
And then all right, I don't have anything else. Does anybody else have anything else?
Oh, Your Honor, I got.
I already spoke with.
What did you do with Raymond Reedy?
Continue to 1-7.
Okay, and then Henry Wellmaker.
It was gonna be a waiver.
All right, and then I got Antoine Gibson.
McGee? We just spoke about Mr.
Gibson, not McGee, Gibson.
Gibson. Gibson is gonna be bound over.
Then O'Connor.
O'Connor is gonna be, it was moved to 1-7.
Okay, and then I got Jasmine Barnes and Karen Lovett.
So Jasmine Barnes was PC found. We had a hearing on her, didn't we?
Yes.
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so he's there you go back. And who else did you say?
Lovett. Karen.
Lovett. And Lovett was gonna be a bind over. It's gonna be a bind over. All right.
All right, that's all. And I got one question for Patterson. Did Patterson have a bond? Because I know he got pushed back to January 7th, but he was asking me real quick.
He has one, let me see, I see a $1,000 bond. Yes, he has a $1,000 bond. So he can bond that if he like, if someone will bond him out.
All right, Yana, I appreciate it. That's everybody.
That's everybody. All right, thank you. Happy holidays.
Thank you. Happy holidays, everyone.